Hello, I'm TFR Wilderness, and it is Tuesday, the 31st of July, last day of the month, and that thing that I do where I bring to you my end of month bot haul. This month, looking at the bots, well, the stuff I've got here, it's kind of a modest haul this month. But actually, there's 18 items in total, but half of them are actually comics. So I've got 9 comics and 9 bots to show you today. But before we get into that, there's a couple of little bits of housekeeping I want to do. I was planning on doing a chewing the fats this month. The reason being is because of these. Now, these are my archive lists of master lists of my collection when I started in 2014 and went through 2015. And the reason I did these is because originally for the first 2 years of my collection, I did all this list keeping, and I had 8 separate lists for the different facets of my collection. You know, like I had a list for car boot sales, a list for retail, a list for eBay, list for convention, list for toy fairs and stuff like that. I had different lists, and it was very complicated to upkeep all these lists. And there was loads of other lists besides that I used to do. And in the latter part of 2015, a lot of discrepancies crept into my list keeping, and I had a really bad discrepancy around about September, October that really screwed my figures over. And it got to a head where I decided, right, I'm going to ditch the old system and take on a new system, which is the master list, which is what I use today. And it's a lot simpler, just one list. I have 2 copies of it. I have like a hard list, which goes in my my black ledger, and I have one on my phone as well. But my old original list from 2014, 2015, they were still in the old format, and I wanted to update them and get them up to date and sort out the discrepancies. So that's what these are about. Now, I started work on these on Monday the 2nd of July, and I actually finished off with the 2 finished articles on Monday the 9th of July. So it took me 8 days to get these 2 files together. And then later on in the month, on the 17th to the 21st, I then had to copy all this into the computer and have the digital lists. So yeah, I've done all that, but it's all done. Yeah, I wanted to do a chewing the fat on it, but do you really want me to sit in front of the camera for like 25 minutes, half an hour, going on about all the trials and tribulations of getting a load of paperwork done? I think not, somehow. So yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way. Another thing, obviously a couple of days ago I did my pre-TF Nation video. Something I forgot to mention in it was this. My beard, my stubble. Basically, I'm not a huge fan of shaving. I do it as little as possible. I usually have a shave and then I wait a couple of weeks, like 5 or 6 weeks, until it starts getting really itchy and scratchy, and then I shave it off. It is very itchy and scratchy. Obviously, in this hot weather, it's not been particularly great. But I was thinking, what with TF Nation coming up, I was going to suggest shave it or save it. Basically, do you want me to keep my beard for TF Nation, or do you want me to shave it off? Because usually when I go to the convention, I'm clean shaven. But that was something I wanted to put in that video, but I forgot, so I'm doing it now. A bit of housekeeping. Anyway, enough of that. You want to see the toys that I bought this month. Okay, let's get on with it. Right, starting off, first arrival on the, well, first arrivals, because there was actually 2 items arrived on the same day, and it was Tuesday the 3rd of July. I got 2 transforming planes. I got this big blue jet. Right, so this is Mackie Toys MTRM 13 Lightning, their Masterpiece-esque Thundercracker. I've got him ordered in from Kapow. He arrived on the 3rd. And yeah, he's pretty sweet little figure. Quite a fiddly transformation, but no, it pegs together in plane mode pretty good. My only major gripe is obviously they've gone for the toon accurate colours with the lighter blue. I would prefer it to be in the toy accurate colours with the darker blue. They might later on do a toy coloured version like they did with Gundog. You had two different versions of the mould. You had one in toon colours and one in toy colours. Yeah, so I got Mackie Toys Lightning, and on the same day, because I bought both of them from Kapow, well, they weren't pre-ordered, they were actually, I actually bought them on the first day of the month when they arrived because they had them in stock. And that was like just under 95 quid. And in order to make the order up to over £100 so I get the free postage, I had to order something else. So I got Iron Factory's Miko. Yeah, this is the reissue of Miko. Very simple toy. It's got a very simple transformation, but even though it's very simplistic, the articulation and the paint apps and the molding on it is what makes this a really wicked little figure. It's a really cool little figure, very, very colourful. It's got pretty much ball joints everywhere, pretty articulated for what it is. Ball jointed head, ball jointed shoulders, elbows, knees and thighs, no waist joints, no angle tilts or anything, but it's a pretty cool figure. Nice mould, kind of a cartoony looking head, almost like I don't know, trying to think what it looks like. It looks like something anyway. It doesn't, when I say cartoony, I mean like Looney Tunes cartoony, not sort of like RID cartoony. And also I think her breast plating is a little saggy. That's just me. Still, it's a decent little figure, brilliant little Jetbot, and another Windblade mold for the collection. So I got her. So those two arrived on the 3rd. So moving forward a couple of days to the 6th, which was a Friday. This guy arrived, Tobot Original X. Now this is like a smaller version of Tobot. The original the original Tobot X. The original Tobot X is about that much bigger. Done a review on it. Very simple toy. Pretty simple transformation. Has not got working elbows. The arms are just straight. It looks like it's got working elbows. It looks like it's got ball jointed elbows, but it hasn't. And that's a real shame. I reckon I could take the arms apart and give it working elbows, and I've been certainly thinking about doing a custom on it. But anyway, I got that. It's okay. It's not bad, but pretty average and pretty disappointing for a KTRT. So that arrived. And then I went uptown, Spartown Comics, went to see Sid, and I got Lost Light 19 and Bumblebee. Now, obviously, there's this Bumblebee comic that's coming out as like a precursor for the movie. I was umming and ahhing whether to get it, so he let me have a flick through this copy before I purchased it. And actually, it's quite a lot of fun because it's sort of based in the 1960s, and Bumblebee's hooked up with this British Secret Service agent. And they're ripping on all the the 1960s secret agent things like James Bond and all that, and it's really funny, and it's got like the man with the golden car, and what's the next issue called? I don't know. Well, we'll get to that anyway. So yeah, I've decided to get into this. It's pretty fun. It's a lot of fun. So I thought, well, this is one of those. Obviously, the IDW is coming to an end later this year. I was speaking to Sid, and I think it looks like IDW has lost the license to do Transformers comics or something to that effect. So this is the curtain call for IDW Transformer comics as we know it. So I thought, I might as well collect all there is IDW, as we've only got a couple of months to go, and there's only so many issues left in the company. So yeah, I got that. And obviously Lost Light's ticking along. And yeah, so right, moving along. Right, next day, the 7th, which is a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, right, okay. Got a delivery, got something arrived in the post. Right, now, it's this guy. Let's have a look at the box. Yeah, so taking a quick look at the box, as you can see, it's a very G1-esque style box. It's got the all the you know, the text on the front. It's got a nice thing there. It's got the All Fun Toys logo there, and stuff underneath, and then you got pictures on the back. Now, what do I do with him? There he is. Right, this figure came out a number of years ago. It was originally about, was it 3 or 4 years ago? I think this guy came out, and it was from some company that no one had ever heard of, and it was a Chinese company, and people sort of thought, you know, it was a knockoff, even though it's a completely original mold. It's not knocking off anything, so if anything, it's a third-party figure. But it didn't really sell particularly well. I don't think they didn't make many. It didn't sell particularly well. The company, as far as I'm aware, disappeared without trace. We've not heard anything from them since. I mean, it says this is number, you know, AFT07. So what happened to AFT01 to 6? I want to know. I've done some research and I can't find any evidence. As far as I know, this is the only figure this company has done. But anyway, so it came and went, and before I bought this guy, I had a look on eBay, and there was somebody on eBay who was flogging one of the original ones that came out a couple of years ago, and he was asking like 200 quid for it. Yeah, right. But it turns out there's a load of these popped up on eBay recently from Chinese sellers around about 55 quid. So I don't know whether someone's found some old stock, some unsold stock, and they're flogging it on, or whether there's a company is doing sort of like a KO reissue of this thing. I don't know. I suspect this is a KO reissue, because when you look at the packaging, there's supposed to be a window in here, because if you look inside, there was evidence that there was a plastic, you know, window glued in there, which is missing. There's some dirt in the back of the box as well. It comes in a clamshell, and if you look in the back of the box, you can see there's some dirt in there. And if you look inside here, I don't know whether you can see there's a glue line around where the window used to be. Also, I've had a look online at pictures of this guy, and the original box was slightly different than this one. The original box had that thing sticking up the top here, had like a back on it, and then this was moved up, and that was on there. So the original box was slightly different. And when you look at the printing on the back here, you get up close, it's kind of pixely. So that leads me to think this is a KO box. The figure itself is kind of small. Do a quick size comparison. There you go, next to Leader Megs, he's like barely half the size. He's bigger than a Deluxe, but smaller than a Voyager, so he's like a weird sort of scale. Build quality is decent on him. He's decently articulated. Nice colours. It's all like coloured plastic rather than there's no paint apps or such on it. No decals or tampos. Articulation's pretty good. You know, it's got you know, double bicep swivels, upper and lower. Got a waist joint. Got a ball jointed head. You know, he's decently articulated. Build quality is pretty good. Joints are reasonably tight. There's some loose pegs on some of the leg sections. But you know, he's decent. He comes with this staff that you have to make up. You can't hold the staff properly because of the design of his hands. You know, instead of the hand being a round hole like that, the fingers on the inside sort of curl round like that, so you can't stick the staff straight through. You have to stick it in at a funny angle, and you can't grip it properly. But he's a decent little figure. He transforms into some sort of spaceship. So, and I've got the Titans Return Alpha Trion, who also transforms into a spaceship and has a lion mode as well. So, you know, it'll go well with him. But, you know, he looks pretty cool. I like the colours, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get one of those. And so I have. And he's pretty cool. He's pretty decent. Yeah, it's about 55 quid. But yeah, I'm glad I picked him up. And right, so that arrived on the 7th. And then, obviously, later on in the day, I went over to Coventry. And the reason I went over to Coventry, the 7th was it Friday? Oh no, this is a Saturday, so it arrived on a Saturday. Sorry. So I seen a video from Mr. Zortrider where he had found the Cyberverse, Wave 1 Warrior class figures in his local Smiths. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go up Smiths and have a look myself. I mean, obviously I'm going up Smiths pretty regular at the moment because I'm checking out Smiths, waiting and hoping that they're going to get the Power of the Primes Wave 2 Voyagers in stock before TF Nation, so I can buy them at £23.99 instead of having to pay 35 quid for them at TF Nation. But that's something else that I'm doing. Yeah, so I went up there and I got me little Cyberverse Warrior Shockwave. Yeah, pretty cool little figure. Looks every inch a Shockwave should look. Yes, they've some really odd styling cues like that silly double eye he's got going on. Head doesn't move, no waist joints. But then again, when you compare this with the articulation on the other Cyberverse Warrior class figures, this guy's got it all going on in terms of articulation. He's got ball jointed elbows. He's got universal shoulders. He's got universal hips. He's got thigh swivels. He's got knee bends that go all the way back. But that's mainly because of his alt mode. He transforms into a spider tank, and you need the articulation to form the legs. He's also got this stupid sort of mech tech type of gizmo, I like to refer to it as like a KV2 turret. So if you ever played World of Tanks, you know what a KV2 is. Russian bias. I think that looks a lot. I think his robot mode, his alt mode looks like a purple KV2 going for a walk. That's what it looks like. But anyway, he's a decent little figure, so I went and picked him up. And while I was in there, I was looking around because I saw a poster on the wall before I went in for another robot toy, and I thought, oh, they've got those in stock. And I'd seen some videos on YouTube of these, and I thought, I'd like to get one of those. And sure enough, they had them in stock. Now it's a robot toy, but it doesn't transform. But it is a fighting robot. Hex Bugs, Robot Wars, Matilda. Now it's remote control. It goes left, right, forwards, and backwards, and it's got working weapons and got a working flipper and a working spinner. It's a brilliant little thing. It was $39.99, and it comes in like a bubble pack. Takes a bunch of AAA batteries. Are they AAAs or double A's? Oh, well, no, it takes batteries. But yeah, brilliant little thing. 40 quid, fantastic. I mean, I like watching Robot Wars. It was a brilliant show. I mean, when the show first came on TV, I kind of wanted to build a robot myself, but I just didn't have the skills, especially the electronic skills, to build one. And I was just on my own. I wasn't part of a team, so I joined the club, and I sort of was going to do it, but I never actually got into it. But then the series came back on the telly more recently, and I've been watching it, and it's really cool. But the series has been cancelled again, and it's got Robot Wars fighting has gone underground. But yeah. But I saw this come out and I thought, yeah, I can have some of that. So I bought that. Even though it's not a Transformer, I just thought I'd throw it in here because it is a robot toy. So yeah, I got that the same day as I got little Warrior Shockwave. Anyway, moving on. So the next day, next thing that arrived was on Monday the 9th. Hot Soldiers. Well, Mech Planet Hot Soldiers, was it HS-14? Commander Centurion, aka Hearts of Steel Bumblebee. Oh yes, 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 and yes. When I saw this was announced and it was coming out, I thought I've got to have one of those. I was a bit unsure about the price because when I saw it was like 25 quid instead of the more normal sort of 12, 14 quid that the little Hot Soldiers figures go for. Sorry, light coming through. I was a bit dubious as to the size of it, but then I saw Bisto Yeti's review on it, and it was, it's obvious that this thing's like more of a deluxe class figure than a Legends class. So I thought, well, that's near enough. Got it. Nice tight joints, pretty cool transformation. Kind of fiddly to transform, especially going in one direction. It's definitely harder than going the other way. Going into train is quite difficult because you have to sort of like scrunch it down. There's a few sort of limited clearance issues here and about, but brilliant little figure. My only gripe is that I wish it had come with the face masked head sculpt, or the Centurion head sculpt, because this guy appeared in more recent IDW comics in Revolutionaries. Centurion was one of the Hearts of Steel robots who survived through to the modern times, and he got into and then he had like the soul of a human got in sort of implanted in him somehow, and he's become a totally different character. But his name's Centurion, which is why Hot Soldiers took a bit of a liberty calling this guy Centurion, because they've actually named it after a real character in the comics. So yeah, but as terms of the figure goes, this thing's amazing. It's fantastic, and I got it for the first couple of days, and it was just on the side under my telly, and I just used to get it down and fiddle with it for a couple of days after I got it. It's a fantastic figure, brilliant. Right, so following day, 10th of July, I've done a review on it. Tobot Adventure X arrived. Yeah, fairly impressive for a Tobot. It's got the usual, head doesn't move, no bicep swivels, no thigh joints. Has got a waist joint. It's got, nice ratchety goodness. He's pretty big. Quite involved transformation on this guy. He's pretty cool. I was a bit sort of dubious about the plastic on the legs, because they've used a metallic flake in the plastic on this. On the legs, it looks like blow molded plastic, the sort of plastic they make shampoo bottles out of. But it is normal, sort of hard, shiny plastic that they make Korean bots out. It just looks odd because of the glaze on them with the metallic flake. Yeah, he's a pretty cool figure. I'm glad I got him. Yeah, did a review on him already. Then, right, Friday the 13th, comics, Spartown Comics went to see Sid. Yeah, so, comics, Optimus Prime 20, Lost Light 20, and, right, Unicron #1. So, if you look on the back of Unicron #1, you've got the checklist of all the comics all the comics for this Unicron series right up till October, when you get the last few issues. Now, as you know, IDW are going to be finishing up their Transformers comics in September, October, as part of this reboot that Hasbro Takara have demanded. I was speaking to Sid, and apparently, I don't know whether this is true, I think IDW is going to lose their license to do comics for Transformers, or they're losing it. So this really is the swan song of IDW Comics. That's part of the reason why I bought into the Bumblebee comics. Yeah, so now Optimus Prime's got this really cool cover where you've got Beast Wars Megatron, Beast Wars Optimus Prime are on the front. They are in the comics, but they're what they're called Maximals, and they're controlled by Liege Maximo on behalf of Onyx Prime, aka Shockwave, to attack Cybertron and anyone else. They're basically they're almost like the harbingers of Unicron. But there is an interesting thing in this comic. Now, if you go to the back, there's this picture of Shockwave, right? Look familiar? They've only gone and used Cyberverse Warrior Class Shockwave in the comic. I can't believe this. It's yeah, so yeah, this is IDW accurate. This is an IDW accurate version of Shockwave, because there he is. He's in the comic. He's in the Optimus Prime comic. Yeah, so they've used the Cyberverse design for Shockwave in the IDW comics, which is bizarre. But anyway, so that's in that. So yeah, IDW accurate. So yeah, I got these. Can't really say much about the stories. Lost Light, yeah, they've caught up with Getaway and the Lost Light crew, and you know, things come to a head. The battle between Rodimus and Getaway, and then you've got Cyclonus and Starsaber having a bit of a to-do, which is quite cool. And then obviously then you've got, you know, the first part of Unicron. Earlier we had that one-shot, the Unicron issue 0, which was part of Free Comic Book Day back in May. But this is the comic proper. Now, the storylines for Lost Light and Optimus Prime are feeding into the Unicron storyline, as you can see from the, you know, the list on the back, the checklist. But at the moment, they're sort of a little bit out of sequence, because there's things in this that haven't quite happened in these issues yet. It's most notably the Optimus Prime. So there's something in Optimus Prime that needs to happen before it runs into this. But I'm sure we'll get to that in good time. So moving along, where are we now? Yeah, we've done those. Yeah. So then we had the following week another Optimus Prime, Optimus Prime 21. I think this is the final part of the Fallen. This little subline they've been doing, but it's going to be moving on to the Unicron storyline with issue 22, I think. So yeah, there's that. Right, now, next, more plastic. 25th, Wednesday the 25th. Now, I've got this, right? I've got Combiner Wars Bruticus, and he's fine, he's great, but one of the limbs, most notably Blastoff, isn't quite right, because, you know, he transforms into a Harrier jump jet, and that ain't right. He should be a shuttle. So I've been and gone and got the Prime Wars Deluxe Blastoff, which is this exclusive figure that's recently been released, where they use that exclusive shuttle mode that Blastoff transforms into for the Unite Warriors version of Bruticus. And yeah, so I went and got him. Now, this guy's pretty expensive. He's 45, 50 quid, depending on who you buy him from. He's the first of these three they've announced so far, these three Prime Wars exclusive deluxe figures that they're going to be releasing, along with Repugnus and Punch Counter Punch. He's the first one. Now, you get him. He's got an exclusive paint job on him. They've absolutely blathered it in this gloss black plastic. He's absolutely covered in it. It comes with a modified hand-foot gun, comes with a little pistol, and you also get a unique Titan Master. You get Megatronus Titan Master with it. But I mainly wanted this as a limb, a proper limb to go with this. Now, the justification for spending the money on basically what is a deluxe figure. Now, in the past, you've got... I've bought... Well, you get these convention exclusives and Transformers Collectors Club exclusive repaints. They get a deluxe figure, they repaint it as a different character. I mean, at Rollout Roll Call a couple of years ago, I got the TFCC 2.0 Chrome Dome, which was Transformers Animated Deluxe Wheeljack. They'd repainted it in Chrome Dome colours, and that was really cool. But that was 65 quid I paid for that. And then there's other exclusive deluxes, and you expect to pay like 65, 70 quid for these. Now, these guys are 50 quid. They come in a box. They're exclusive molds. All three of them are exclusive molds, or molds that either brand new molds or molds that have only been used very little. So this is only the second time this mold's been used, and again, it's a limited edition mold. Exclusive repaint. And they also come with a few accessories. either a Titan Master or a Prime Master, and they come in a fancy box. Yeah, so yeah, when I looked at it like that, when I looked at it, no, it's a unique mold, it's a unique repaint. I sort of justified it to myself to spend the money and get this guy, and it's the same with the others. Repugnus, I want to get Repugnus because I've got the other two monster bots. I've got, you know, Grotusk and Twinferno, so I might as well get Repugnus and complete the set. And Punch Counter Punch, never had any interest in the character beforehand, but looking at it, one, the car mode looks gorgeous. I love the car mode. Yes, it's a modified sort of Combiner Wars car mode, but it looks really good. The styling on it, it's all one colour. There's no odd coloured panels on the arm pivots and stuff like that. And it's got that transformation gimmick where it can change depending on which way around you've got it. It's an Autobot or Decepticon. It's got those funny knees that look a bit odd because they pivot forwards and backwards as part of the transformation. But it looks really cool, and I think, yeah, I'd like to get that because it's another one of those you know, sort of faction changing sort of figures that they've done over the years. You know, those double agent, those backstabbers, those you know, those traitorous, you know, faction switching bots that they did, like you know, Double Dealer. I've got the G1 and the Generations Double Dealer. I've also got the Heralds of Unicron. I've got the Armada sideways, and I've got the Cybertron sideways as well. So now they're all figures that have a faction changing gimmick on them. I haven't got a G1 Punch Counter Punch, but you know, I'd like to get this Prime Wars one. So I'm looking to get those guys when they come out, and they shouldn't be out. It shouldn't be too long before they're out. I reckon they'll be out before the end of the year easily. I think Repugnus is pretty much out already, or it'll be out next month, because there's a couple of people on eBay are doing sort of pre-orders for it already for, you know, just under 50 quid. So yeah, I got him, and yeah, so I will be adding him to this to make a proper Bruticus. So yeah, I got him. Blast off. He arrived on the 25th, and then it's the 27th, Friday, the 27th, the last purchase day of the month. Went uptown, Spartown Comics. Got Lost Light number 21. Would have liked to have got the Jeff Senior cover, but I forgot to mention it to Sid, and he gave me the regular one. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed I didn't get the Jeff Senior cover. And we got Unicron issue 2 and Bumblebee issue 2. And like I said, Bumblebee, it's, what's it called? Yeah, that's right. The Living Headlights, you know. And in this one, they they take the piss out in this one. This is really funny. Oh yeah, they take the piss out of Austin Powers, and they also take there's a nod to the Persuaders as well. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, nod to the Persuaders. I really like this. It's pretty cool actually what they're doing. And another thing, Agent Lux, the female lady, her. I don't know whether you can see it, but her sidearm is a Walter P38. So she's basically got G1 Megatron as a sidearm, which I quite like. I think that's really cool. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying this, and I'm glad I picked it up. So that was the last of the 9 comics I got this month. And then finally, like I said, I've been going up to Smith's every week now, and I will be up until TF Nation. I'm going to be going up checking Smith's in the vain hope that they get the Power of the Primes Wave 2 Voyagers in stock. Went up last Friday. They didn't have the Wave 2 Voyagers, so I came back home, but then I decided, you know what, there's another figure going cheap that I can go and buy. Now, I noticed in Argos, I went in Argos recently as well, and I went onto their system to see what Transformers they got in stock, and I noticed they had the Last Night Premium Squeeks for $6.99, and I thought, you know what, I could actually do that guy for that price. So after I went over to Smith's, I had a bit of a bust, so I came back home and decided, you know what, I'm going to go and buy Squeeks. So I went and got Squeeks. But I didn't pay £6.99 for this guy. Oh no, when I got there I found out they'd reduced the price again to £4.99. Brand new, you know, premium deluxe figure. No, Transformers The Last Night, premium deluxe figure, £4.99. Can't go wrong at that. I mean, Squeeks as a character. Now, when this guy first came out, I was a bit reluctant to get it because I wanted to see the movie, see what the character was like before deciding whether to get the figure. Watch the movie, and Squeeks, he barely qualifies as comic relief. You know, he's basically the Transformer equivalent of a Jawa or you know, sort of an Ewok from Star Wars. You know, he just goes around going "Ichiwawa," and he has a few moments in the film, but he's like criminally underused, and he was just a load of rubbish basically. So I wasn't really that impressed with the character, so I didn't really want to get the toy. But I thought, you know what, you know, this thing transforms into a Vespa scooter, and I thought that in itself makes me interested in getting one, because I kind of like bike forms, and two, it's an unusual alt mode. It's an oddball figure, and I thought, you know, I might want to get it. And also he comes with this little base thing which all opens up into like a little base, and a little play base, and it's got, you know, storage for stuff, and it's got like little weapons up there, and it's got like a little robot arm that comes up, and that's pretty cool. You know, that's pretty decent. But because it's such a small figure, it's not a proper deluxe. They had to do something to flesh this thing out. Anyway, but I wanted to get him because he transforms into a scooter, and £4.99, yeah. So I decided to get him, and he is the last bot I bought this month. He is the last figure I got. So he's item number 18, and that is all she wrote for the month of July. Right, so yeah, I do that thing with this year where I do first and worst, and I think it's yeah, okay, right. First and worst. Now, I really like this. This thing is brilliant. I mean, yeah, you say, well, surely, you know, Lightning, Mackie Toys Lightning should be #1 because it's a big, impressive, you know, like third-party figure, third-party masterpiece figure. But this thing's really cool. I really like this. And this thing, again, with these static elbows, big disappointment. Very disappointed. It's a very simple toy. There's not much to it. You know, hasn't got enough articulation in my mind to be of any decent merit. So that's why he is the least favourite thing that I got this month. So that, as they say, is that. I've been TFR Wilderness. Obviously, moving into August as of tomorrow. What's August? August is TF Nation, isn't it? It's just a couple of weeks, less than 3 weeks now. What is it? As of today, it's now, what is it, 17 days till TF Nation, because it starts on the 17th. Yeah, so 17 days to TF Nation as of today. Well, tomorrow, I suppose. Yeah, so that's it. That's been me, TFR Wilderness. Next time you see me will probably be at TF Nation. So I will see you there. Look out for the photo gallery at the end of the video as always, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.